Good morning, everyone. We get cell setups, multiple time frame cell setups here, and big news coming this week, as you all know. Fed announcement, its options expiration, the end of the year. I guess it'll be a bit of a tug of a war, and who's got the confidence to institutions and traders, whatever, to press it before all of that news. Makes for a difficult situation. Anyway, we've got him on the weekly time frame, and we got him on the daily time frame. The daily time frame, you had that somewhat unbelievable, I guess, failure of that wide range bar on the Fed news Wednesday, where institutions were just buying hand over fist, and it looked like it should form a continuation pattern higher. Coming up to this next level, it was stuck at that pivot there. You can't see it on the daily chart, but that's a pivot swing high, and it retraced all the way back down. And if you remember last week, we were like looking for short-term buys, and that followed through, rather muted extent. And Friday was like, okay, it ain't going to continue to go up. And at the end of the day, down it went. So now we need to see if this will trigger on the short side. And if it does, we get a break below these lows. Initially, a break below Friday's low, but you got two lows of those prior bars right there. And so at that point, should it do that, it should not trade back above Friday's high. And so an alert is down here. And from there, this pivot swing low right there is based on historical patterns, should not hold. And so we've got till Wednesday, Fed announcement. If this triggers, I'm of the bias that it goes down to the 50 MA, because at that point, somewhere down in here is where anybody who's short is not going to want to hold on ahead of that news, the uncertainty. But between today and Wednesday, it's possible that it makes its way down there toward the 50. And then, of course, options expiration and so on. One of the thoughts is that you've got all of these, call options, large open interest at 4,000 and several strikes above. And I always I look at a pattern and I thought of it, well, if I was facing this pattern and it was against me, what would I do? And so if I owned these calls, one of them expiring at the end of the week, and I had some money in there and this started to break, I would look to salvage what I have, and doing that and unwinding of hedges could, I think, drive it lower. So we'll see how that plays out. But look, we got our lines in the sand. If it breaks here, it opens up the door to lower. And of course, if it was to somehow, you see it's up a little bit here, pre-market, but it was just rejected as it moved higher, wide range bar down. But if it was to get back above there, it establishes this area as, I guess, an even more significant support point if it was then to subsequently fail. Remember last week, the idea was, as I was commenting on this pattern, was the potential, for a head and shoulders top where it would come up toward that 400 level or the 200 MA, and it couldn't get there. So that's weak. And so now, you got this little tiny bitty trading range going on, and we'll see if it breaks. And if it does, there's really nothing to stop it. And where that puts it, I'm just curious. That puts it way down below. So the 50 MA is lined up with this area here, and that little open space, but that created that there's that little gap there between those bars. So it's a logical place where prices could go to. And of course, breaking 3,900 or 380 could be another trigger. This is open interest and puts. That could another that drives it lower. So until it breaks one way or the other, it's just doing nothing. A little bit different with the futures, up a little bit, but the same or similar pattern, shoulder, breakout, failure, right shoulder, and can it move lower? So looks until something happens, it's going to be relatively uneventful, so kind of comes down to the buyers and sellers blink here ahead of the impending news. Will get prices moving in one direction, which the direction, based on the weekly red bar, which, hey, that was a red bar ignored. But at this point now, I mean, it made sense here. Whereas now it's up against this area. It doesn't make sense to get a red bar ignored, and so we got this weekly and daily sell setups. We just need to see if they'll trigger or not. And so SPX, things have been tightening up. And so the average range of day to day, other than this bar here, has been around 42 points. And with outside of that range, like say 60 points or so, give or take, not bars like this. So the upside is within a range that makes sense at 39.30. 39.30 is up here. And as you can see, it's above the 20 and this high. Still, relatively close compared to kind of premiums we were seeing back here. And the downside is like 44 points away with this premium, but it's below 3,900. So at 38.90. But with a sell setup on the weekly and daily time frame, that is easily hit. So I'm not warmed up to that idea. Whereas up here makes a whole lot more sense. But just based on the way things are, I don't think anything's a no-brainer here as far as SPX goes. Hey, Jake. Yes, at 39.78. 39. Am I reading that right? Oh, 39.78. 78. You're saying that? I don't know. I'm sure if that's giving me a strike. It's not a strike. Or are you telling me it can't be a strike? You're telling me that's where it's trading now? This is in the middle of that red bar. It's trading around here, 39. Let's call it 39.40-ish or so. Yeah. Look, if things pop up and you can get above 4,000, and McGraw saying 4,005, I think that would be a no-brainer for sure. And 38.85. Well, if the premiums increase and things move one way or another, I would agree with that. Sure. The further away you can get, the better. Is that void on SPY between 38.40? I mean, SPX 38.40, 39.20. So this area here is how I view things anyway. Right? So that pivot is, you see it's there. This came down pretty close to it, and then you've got another test of this one. So this being a pretty significant level, Obviously it is, since it held there at the end of the week. Breaking below here, I know 3,900 is lined up with that pivot, but with a failure like that, you've got this congestion, you've got more traders on the edge of saying, hey, I'm ready to throw the towel in. Is this going to hold? I would think not. I think that's just logical thinking. And so the void, you've got a little congestion there, and you just look at it over here. So, is this going to hold as this begins to break lower? Another way of looking at it is, look, if I want to be a buyer, where do I want to be a buyer? Well, where there's the most significant support level. And where is that? Well, it's down here. I'm not saying it'll go down there today, but based on this topping pattern, the violation of this support, ignoring the news that can drive the market one way or the other, my bias would be, hey, down here, if it was a continuation of fluid, this is how we define fluid, movement to the downside, this is where buyers are going to show up and be more confident of taking a position. And so the patterns are, about what other people are thinking, and they're looking to the left. And that's what it is. Over the red box opens up the void. The red box open above here opens up the void to the upside. Now, how far could it retrace after coming down like that? You would think not far, but look, power bars are the weakest link. Here is the power bar. That was the Fed Fed day, the chairman day, and every buy. It's the weakest link. So here's where it had to create the support, and it failed. And then, news driven market, not very confident, hedge fund managers on edge, got to, lock in those profits, whatever. And it just feeds on itself down to the next significant level. Now it creates support or resistance, I should say. There's a little congestion there. Couldn't get very far. So now we wait. Can it break here? Can it break there? That's what it is. Same story here as we look across other markets. I mean, this one was more coming up to a more obvious reference point where there was going to be sellers and now trading range. The Dow, you can see that the topping pattern, which we see everywhere, where there was some strength and the breakout failure, upside shakeout, head and shoulders top, call it whatever you want. It's a distribution pattern, and breaking these lows and prices are going to go lower. That's the theoretical. Then we're going to see what's going to happen. This is already, that's broken. It's just dangling here at the 50 MA, but you can see the support. There's the resistance. Look to the left, wide range bar down on the weekly. Sell setups on weekly charts pretty much everywhere. Are they going to trigger? We'll see. Bitcoin, dangling here now for almost 3 weeks or so, around 4 weeks, doing nothing. Russell, same story. Breakout failure, red bar, news coming, points to me, be nimble, day trades. Even credit spreads that expire at the end of the week. I mean, you could have movement enough by Wednesday to get out. Sure. Right. So now it's like finding patterns and finding premium factory work. Interest rates, 10-year down a little bit. Yeah, we talked about the VIX last week, Alex. Right. There it is. Every time it comes down here, it's gapping up and the market's just hanging here. I see. So why isn't the market dropping? Is it like a suck job? Suck in some longs that see the market up a little bit, going to buy it, but you see the sell setup, you see the buy setup. Every time it's come down here this year, market is sold off. Now you see last year, the market was in an uptrend and it was able to stay low before it went higher. Now it's in this trading range. So, I mean, that's basically it. We'll see which way these things are going to go here. Silver, not much going on there today anyway. It's had a hell of a nice run as the dollars pulled back. Gold's just hanging here, and crude oil, stabilizing, but ultimately, whole number, but here's the support level. So it doesn't matter what you look at, right? As a correction starts, right, or you get a sell set up, it's like, where should it go to? You look to the left. Where would I think buyers will show up in a significant way? Wherever there's the largest area of price support to the left, and it's down here. So as you can see, clearly, it's an area, relatively wide area, and I've got to turn green, of course. So we'll see what happens, and see what tomorrow brings. Be nimble. Credit spreads, as far as swings, I don't have to say. The risk of the news could swing it pretty violently in either direction. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, not in a long time did we find so many bearish patterns relative to bullish. Typically, I find more bullish patterns. Not this time. So we actually have a lot of credit spread ideas in the weekend letter. And you have the same risk of holding the credit spread as you do a directional if it violently goes against you. But I was hoping, I'm glad we're gapping up instead of gapping a big gap down and then we're in chase mode. So this is actually better. Let it go sideways for an hour and then take out Friday's low. That would be ideal. Yeah, CPI tomorrow. Pre-market. Coup is our big winner. You remember I was pounding the table on this ever since this wide range bar. There's certain stocks I say I'm going to watch you for a week or two, and this was one of them. I forget exactly what day we got in. I think it was this one. And you had bullish weekly, bullish monthly. I was saying this is a potential double bottom, new low plus, running from 360 all the way down here, $40. You got a bear sandwich, got a 1, 2, 3. This Wednesday MTY, we're talking about multiple time frames, and the daily was a little harder because this was so extended, but daily, weekly, monthly were all in alignment. So I just said sell the whole thing. There's buyout news, and they actually have earnings after the bell too. At first, when I saw it gapping up, I thought it was the earnings pre-market, and then I saw that news on the buyout. Amgen's the biggest drag on the Dow. Everything else is green. Cream down a few pennies. I mentioned this as a short into the close Friday. But I didn't know they were involved in that buyout, so that would have been risk. But I was looking for a call spread also on the weekend, and there was no juice. Yeah, VIX. I looked at this as a put spread, and there was insufficient juice. But all right, well, this is weird. The VIX gapping up, but the VXX not. This is gapping down. But I know they're different instruments, of course, but you would think they would move together. But yeah, this is a long watch. If the spiders take out the 1 hour low, then I think we can buy this as a speculative short in the broader market and hopefully hold it. I mean, my desired intent is to just sell off into the FOMC. And then the FOMC would do one of two things. It would create a bullish reversal, or it would continue the acceleration lower, where we would take even bigger profits on the shorts, and then get the internals cooked even more for the reversal. So that's mine. All right, peak. I see a print up here, 27.55, but that's too big. IAC have positive Barron's mention. Now this is a failed, as of now, potential bottoming pattern. Right here, it was kind of its beautiful entry, its last gasp, and then it failed. So now I see it opening flat. So that article's not doing very much for it. CVS got positive mention. UTI, I think had earnings $8. Now I like to point out ideal gaps. Ideal would be right here at around 750. And then 5-10 minute high, the expectation it would go through this prior high. Look how you got a little bull flag here on the weekly. This has room to about 850, but the gap's too big for me. BDX, I can't tell where it's gapping. I don't know, Thomas. I need more information. DAKT had earnings also. We'll come back to you. Cool, we talked about RCL. I was looking for another call spread on this, but there was no juice. But Friday's low could be a day trade short. Let's see. XLB topping pattern. If you were in those stocks, I'd be selling calls on them and tightening stops. XLY, another failed bottoming pattern. Just like I said on that other one, here was its chance to hold and move up, and it failed. So that looks like that's coming to the prior lows. XAR's topping pattern. XAR. PAG. Why am I looking at you? I don't know if this was in Barron's or what, but this pattern, I would trade up or down. LRCX, also, this was one. It's a potential reversal on support, or it could have been a little head and shoulders breakdown, and it's gapping up to 460. Let's put that in a window. I like that. That looks great, actually. 30-minute high. The target 480, 490. This looks great. If it can hold the morning gap. For what, Thomas? Setting up for what? And on what time frame? It's not just not. No, sir. It's not. A 1, 2, 3 is an inside bar. This is a big old topping tail closed under the open, and there's a little sell set up pre-market. That is not a 1, 2, 3. What was the one I did the chart of the week on? Is a 1, 2, 3. No, but it's not a possible. You You can't look at a jet ski and say, well, you know, you're a possible palm tree. It's not. But I'm trying to, I'll get to it. I did the chart of the week on it and I forgot already what it was. Here, Intuit. This is a 1, 2, 3. It's an inside bar in the upper third. And that's why I did a chart of the week on this. This is a phenomenal pattern. And it's also going to be relative strength if it triggers with cell setups all over the place. Hey, what's shaking do? JP Morgan, little bear flag. That's a short watch. If banks still stay weak, Kroger, I gave us the call spread, but let's watch it on a bounce for a short. I'll actually put it here in the bottom right because this is an end of day decline. So that's a bad place to short. Sierra India is a continuation short. BTRS short. Start off with a day trade. WBA. I think it might have had positive bearings. I forget. Piton. Now the daily's a mess to get on board, but look at, hey, Thomas, here's another 1, 2, 3. I know 1, 2, 3s are so easy. It's a wide range bar. Now you might say, well, Dan, you just said upper third retracement. I did say upper third, but don't be too anal about it. This one's like 40%. I get it. So I see it down pre-market, so that's not good because then that's going to drive this weekly retracement even deeper. AMD looks lower. Jack Henry looks lower. Now see, here's Thomas. Here is a bear 1, 2, 3. Look, and you combine concepts. I have an M top. I have a wide range closing breakdown. I have 2 inside bars in the bottom third and a closing breakdown. That's a bear 1, 2, 3 that triggered on Friday. So we're going to be trading the continuation of this pattern that already triggered. RKT, why am I looking at you? Oh, Rackspace. Greg, this is the one I told you to read in Barron's, that this is a cloud company that got hacked. And they're being real, down low key about it, but they were saying that was a bad situation. And whoever's in, if you got your stuff in the cloud, it was saying you better have backups because they're a bunch of their clients are in a bad situation. They can't get their data back. All right, Target here. This was another continuation breakdown. We were saying to buy puts on this. Yeah, Rob, it's Intuit. All right, Target. Let's wait for a bounce. I'm just gonna say limit. I'm gonna Target. I'm not gonna chase it here. Well, yeah, David, do you remember our rule? So let's look at them. If they gap under it, we wait 5 minutes, but if it triggers cleanly, then yes. So yeah, I Monday morning, so I'm focused on new trades and opens. I'm not, just not interested in new trades. I guess I had Lima whiskey alarm go off, so that might be stopping out. WSM, Mitch, what is your question? We sold a put spread on that on Friday. There's nothing to do unless it's making you nervous, and then you can trim it. All right, coin. Yeah, coin gapped under the entry. Let's see, was coin a directional or, yeah, so coin. We were gonna buy puts. So here I'm gonna do the same thing. Let's just. Let's just wait for a bounce. What was the other one you said? AMD. AMD. AMD, we had 2 trades. Hey, Microsoft up alarm. That was one of my trades of it shouldn't trigger. It should not trigger. Unless it's strong. All right, so David, let me check this out. AMD 7277. No, 79. Yeah, that's good to go. 79.